When I was 10, my dad died in an accident. The lawyer asked me, stay with mom or take 200 million. Last life, I cried and chose mom. She turned around and married some guy named Zhao Qiang. I became the unwanted kid and worked myself to death on a construction site at 28. But now that crossroad showed up again. And here she was, bawling her eyes out. How could you just leave us? What are we supposed to do now? She was sobbing so hard she could barely stand. Last time I actually believed those tears. I threw myself at her feet, begging to stay with her. And what did she do? She took my dad's life insurance money and married Zhao Qiang within months. Just like that, I became the baggage nobody wanted. Zhao Qiang had a son, 2 years older than me. To keep that stepbrother happy, she beat me whenever she felt like it. My dad's money? It became their personal spending fund. My stepbrother used it to chase girls and show off. I had to dig through trash just to pay for school. I didn't even finish high school before they kicked me out to work. I hauled bricks on construction sites for 10 straight years, until one day I collapsed from exhaustion and never woke up. But now I'm back. She wrapped her arms around me and said, "Don't be scared, baby. Mommy's gonna take good care of you." But behind those tears I could see it, the hunger, the greed. This time I just watched her perform. Cold. Then my dad's old friend and personal lawyer, Uncle Zhou, stepped forward. He patted my shoulder and pulled out a document. "This is the will your father left behind." He had 200 million in assets, all notarized. Option 1, you stay with her and she holds the money until you come of age. The moment he said that, her eyes lit up like a jackpot machine. Option 2, if you choose not to stay with her, the money goes into a trust. Uncle Joe manages it and only you can touch it. The whole room went dead silent. Every single eye landed on me. She froze. You could see the disbelief written all over her face. A second later, she was crying and clutching me again. How could I ever give up my own son? But with her lips right at my ear, she whispered something else entirely. "You're my son. Your money is my money." Last life, those words would have scared me into obedience. This time, I just felt sick. 200 million. She'd never seen that kind of money. She was already daydreaming about the life she'd live with it. I slowly peeled myself out of her arms. Then I looked up and met Uncle Joe's eyes. "Uncle Joe, I'll take option 2. I want the 200 million. The whole room went completely still. Her face just froze and shattered. "What did you just say?" I said it again, calm as ever. "I want the money, not you." She screamed. "You're insane! You ungrateful little... I am your mother!" She lunged at me like she'd lost her mind. Uncle Joe caught her wrist before she could touch me. He said stone-faced, "Oh, get yourself together." We are at a funeral, and this was his choice to make. She shrieked, "He's a kid, he doesn't know anything. You put him up to this." Uncle Joe shook her off. "This will is legally binding. He's made his choice. I'm initiating the process right now. Effective immediately. You are no longer his legal guardian." She stood there, completely lost, her eyes burning with pure hatred. I walked over to Uncle Joe and tugged on his sleeve. "Uncle, my dad knew this would happen, didn't he?" He crouched down, looked me in the eyes, and said with a heavy voice, "Your dad was a smart man. He just loved you too much." Those words hit me like a truck. My eyes burned. Of course he saw through her. He always did. He just kept quiet because he wanted to give me a real family. It wasn't until his terminal diagnosis that he laid this plan. Last life, I was too naive. I threw away his final gift. Not this time. I chose the money. She was dragged out by the relatives. The look she gave me on the way out. Pure venom. But the moment I made that choice, we were done. No more mother and son. All that's left between us is hatred. Uncle Joe became my guardian. After the funeral, he took me in and showed me my dad's investment list. My dad had spent years putting it together. I flipped straight to the last page and said, "Sell everything on the front." He was shocked. "These are blue chip stocks. Your dad handpicked every one of them." I shook my head. "Too slow." I pointed to a few names on the list, names nobody recognized. "Put everything into these companies." He frowned hard. "I've never even heard of any of these." I asked, "Uncle Joe, do you trust my dad?" He paused. "Of course." "Then trust me on this one." I told him my dad came to me in a dream. It was the only excuse I had. He looked at my eyes that definitely didn't belong to a 10-year-old, and somehow he nodded. What he didn't know was that those companies were about to take over the world, and I would be the most mysterious shareholder behind all of them. Once everything was set, I finally let myself breathe. I set one new goal for this life: do absolutely nothing. Last life, I worked myself to death. This time, I'm living easy. I enrolled in the best private school, not to study hard, just for the food and the vibe. I started working out, not for discipline, just for the abs. I learned to cook and brew wine, strictly for my own enjoyment. I dumped all the boring stuff on Uncle Joe's team. The guy running it was Old Wu, a Wall Street-trained elite. I poached him with triple the salary and gave him one rule: don't bother me, handle it yourself. If you can't handle it, run them into the ground. Old Wu looked at me like I was some spoiled trust fund kid, but he followed orders anyway. "Boss, the stock just tripled again." "Cool, don't interrupt me. I'm perfecting this stew recipe." "Boss, Alibaba's about to IPO. Our shares could hit hundreds of billions." "Got it. Now taste this batch of rice wine I made." "Boss, that land you bought on a whim? The government just made it a CBD. Value went up 100-fold. Old Wu eventually got used to my laid-back lifestyle. He even started filtering out the small deals, anything under a few billion. And I just kept drifting further down the path of doing nothing. My wealth kept snowballing, but the numbers stopped meaning anything to me. Nobody knew who I was, just that some mysterious Mr. Ning was filthy rich and impossible to find. Until I turned 18, when someone walked in and wrecked my peace. Her name was Xiao Wangqing, my so-called fiancée. Our engagement was a childhood arrangement made by our grandfathers. After my dad died and we fell in hard times, nobody brought it up again. But nobody expected that inheritance to grow into a full-blown empire. The Ning family's comeback caught the Xiao family's attention fast. On my 18th birthday, the Xiao family showed up at my door, said they were there to honor the old engagement. I met her for the first time in Uncle Joe's living room. She wore a tailored white dress, perfect hair, perfect makeup, beautiful, but cold as ice. She was the textbook definition of a power woman, groomed from birth to run an empire. Word was she earned a double PhD at 20. Took over the family business at 22 with an iron fist. Even the most seasoned business sharks gave her a wide berth. To her, emotions were nothing but a weakness. She looked me up and down and asked, "You're Ning Yi?" I had just come back from the gym and barely acknowledged her. I flopped onto the couch and started eating an apple. She frowned slightly. "I heard you dropped out of school?" "Yep, too much work." "So what exactly do you do all day?" "Work out, cook, brew wine, figure out how to chill harder." She let out a cold laugh. "So you're just a useless rich kid with nothing going on." "This engagement is a joke from our grandparents' era. I need a real partner, not a deadbeat." "So what's the point of telling me this?" "Go tell my grandfather you want to call off the engagement. As compensation, I'll give you a sum of money. Or I can get you a cushy position at my company." I nearly choked on my apple.